Pope Francis has passed away. There's a lot of controversy surrounding him and the Catholic Church, especially in the last 2-3 decades. But I mean, historically, there's been a lot of terrible controversy surrounding the Catholic Church. And there's a lot of amazing things that came out of the Catholic Church. If you've ever visited the Vatican, the art that the Vatican sponsored is amazing. If you can visit the Vatican, you'll be blown away. Just at the structure, the art within it, there's just a lot of history in it, and it makes you feel a certain way. Now, with regards to Pope Francis, a lot of the controversy surrounding him has to deal with a lot of his positions, a lot of his actions, and a lot of things he said. For example, one major point of contention is his approach to LGBTQ issues. In December 2023, he approved Fiducia Supplicans, a Vatican document allowing priests to offer non-liturgical blessings to same-sex couples under certain conditions. You know, there is a big issue with that. Again, this is a spiritual sector of life. The church itself as an entity and what it stands for, there seems to be a lot of conflict with what the Bible teaches, preaches, and what the Catholic Church is doing. Again, I believe a lot of this is wanting to evolve with the times, but I don't know if it's holding true to Scripture. And again, depending on the perspective you come from, you can always find certain evidence or interpretations to fit your perspective. Then another issue that he was having surrounding him as a pope is in 2024, reports emerged that Francis used a derogatory Italian term for gay men during a private meeting with bishops, leading to an apology from the Vatican after global backlash. So see, again, there's a lot of conflict in action and then in speech. And I guess from what we learned with Trump's presidency in his term, there could be people trying to undermine him, and maybe he never said it. It could be out of context. There's a lot of issues with that, right? I think another really important thing that I think really stands out as controversy is his idea on religious pluralism. Back in September of 2024, Pope Francis visited Singapore, and he stated all religions are a path to reach God, likening them to different languages to approach the divine. There's an issue there, right? Because you as an entity of the Catholic Church, the reason you're the Catholic Church, the reason you're a pope is because you have a certain way, a certain perspective, the one and only true path to God. That's why you have all of your flock that follows you. There's a contradiction there. And there's something there that rationally and critically does not make sense. I understand looking at it from a very spiritual standing back perspective, where you state that spiritually, the path for many people comes in different ways. But as an entity that has stood right now the test of time, or at least in the newest modern time that we can personally remember, to state that other religions are kind of an equivalent to you kind of takes away your significance in a way, at least in the eyes of many people, or at least devalues the Catholic Church in a way to people that really stringently follow it. It just doesn't make sense as a leader of something so important for so many people. That's a different video. I'm just trying to share a little bit of the controversy. Another issue with Pope Francis is his stance on climate change. He faced criticism over social and political issues. His 2015 encyclical Laudato Si, which called climate change a moral crisis tied to human activity, drew ear from conservative Catholics and climate skeptics who accused him of wading into science and politics beyond his purview. So essentially what they're saying is overstepping his power and getting into social politics, which is making people choose sides. And obviously that's causing internal conflict within the Catholic Church. This is a really final controversy that I'm just going to touch upon, just to give you a quick overview, is his view on capitalism. He called it the dung of the devil in 2015, and his advocacy for migrants have been labeled as communist-leaning by detractors, especially after he accepted a hammer and sickle crucifix from Bolivian President Evo Morales that year. So you can see there's a lot of political social conflict, and he's choosing sides. He's not being somebody that steps back and tries to take a peaceful view that encompasses everybody's perspective. He's picking sides, and that's causing internal conflict. Not to mention, there's a lot of conspiracy theories that date probably all the way back to Nostradamus about him possibly being the last pope. And after him, a lot of apocalyptic things will start happening. There's a lot to that. Again, we could make another video where we dissect that. I just wanted to do a little bit of commentary on the Pope's death. Conspiracy theories about Pope Francis being the final pope often stem from interpretations of historical prophecies, particularly those attributed to Saint Malachi and Nostradamus, which have been twisted or exaggerated to fit modern narratives. One really popular conspiracy theory is the prophecy of the popes, a list of 112 short Latin phrases supposedly written by Saint Malachi, a 12th century Irish bishop. According to this narrative, each phrase corresponds to a pope starting from the 12th century, and Francis is linked to the final one, Peter the Roman. The prophecy claims that during this pope's reign, Rome, the city of 7 hills, will be destroyed, signaling the end times. And the final little conspiracy theory that I'm going to give you is one that came from Nostradamus himself. Nostradamus, the 16th century French seer, his quatrains are often mined for doomsday predictions. Some online conspiracy theorists claim he foretold a final pope coinciding with the Catholic Church's collapse. These interpretations are highly speculative because Nostradamus's quatrains or the things he saw about the future were very general. So what ends up happening is a lot of people interpret those to fit what they want to see with what's happening today. But it's really amazing. Some things that Nostradamus did predict kind of seem to have come true. But again, it could be over a generalization, and it could just be looking back at things. Aside from the prophecies and conspiracy theories, there's a lot of literature out there or videos that paint Pope Francis as the anti-pope, or the pope that's going to usher in the apocalypse or the antichrist. And it's because of his liberal reforms like openness to LGBTQ plus issues or interfaith dialogue as evidence of a break from tradition. Others tie his papacy to apocalyptic scenarios involving a black pope, a term historically linked to the Jesuit leader, which Francis, as a Jesuit, fits. It's going to be interesting. It always has been. I mean, the start of 2025 has been interesting itself, from political to social to spiritual. I just wanted to share the passing of the Pope. It's going to be interesting to see what happens next. I know he was a controversial pope from the beginning. May he rest in peace. Share your thoughts on what you think his papacy entailed, the controversy surrounding it, and whether you believe some of these conspiracy theories. Just share your perspective. I'd love to hear it. I do like to interact with the comments.